Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing really well today. First of all, I must apologise for the awful lighting. It is now nearly 10 o'clock in the night, so I'm having to use an external light source, so it's not the most flattering, and also I'm quite tired, so don't mind the under eye circles, because I've had to look after baby myself the whole day today because Jay was out for work. But yeah, anyway, ramble off. Hopefully the day that you are watching this video will be Mother's Day in England, and it is my first time celebrating Mother's Day. So I thought, what better time to come on here and talk about my fertility journey with you guys, because it has definitely been a very long and very hard journey for us to get here. So I thought, what better day there is to talk about is than Mother's Day. So yes, I especially wanted to talk about this because I know I'm not the only one that went through this or are going through this at the moment, and especially in our South Asian community, this subject is a very taboo subject. There's a lot of stigma attached to it, especially for the women involved. So I wanted to speak about my journey, my experience here, just in case you are going through a similar sort of experience, to let you know that you are not alone, and that things do have a way of working out in the end, which is mainly why I'm doing this video. And yeah, before I get started, I need to also say that I'm only talking about what I've been through, what my experience was. I am not a medical professional and I am not offering any sort of advice. This is just what I went through. So yes, let's get into it. I got married when I was 23 years old, so fairly young, but I knew from a fairly young age that I wanted to be a mother quite soon. So as soon as I got married, I knew that, I wanted to start a family, not straight away, but yes, pretty quickly, and I wanted to also have a big family. And so did my husband. So we were both on the same page. So about a year into our marriage, we sort of stopped not trying and started to try. And that went on for about 2 years, with me not getting pregnant at all. So at that point we thought, okay, we should seek some medical advice. And we then booked an appointment with the GP and sat down with her, and the first thing that she said was, obviously, because I was quite young, we should keep trying, but just in case, we should do some blood tests for me to see if everything was okay. And so they did a hormonal test on me, and also the sperm test on Jay, and my hormonal test came back all good. So they tested the AMH hormone, which is the anti-Mullerian hormone, I think, which tells how fertile a woman is, how much eggs she produces, I believe, and that count was quite good, and all the other hormones were quite good as well. So the GP was like, there's nothing to worry about, and so was Jay's report was also all good. So the GP said, just keep on trying because I'm young, they won't do any further tests or do any further examinations, just keep trying and we'll reassess after a year, which is obviously not what we wanted to hear, but yes. So after that we had a trip, we had booked to go to Sri Lanka. So after that we had a trip scheduled to go to Sri Lanka, and we took the opportunity to sit down with a gynecologist in Sri Lanka, just to get a second opinion, because it's easy to get scans and things done in Sri Lanka. So the gynecologist did an ultrasound scan on my belly, had a look at my ovaries, and he thought that I might be having cysts on my ovaries, and also combined with my irregular periods, because sometimes it went up to like 40-50 days without me having a period. He said that I could be suffering from polycystic ovarian syndrome, or PCOS. But to confirm, I would need to get an internal examination done, which they didn't do. And then he suggested that I go on Clomid, which helps to regulate your period cycle. So it regulates your ovulation, makes it easier for you to try and to see if you get pregnant naturally. So he gave me 3 cycles of Clomid, so I took it for 3 months, and we did not get pregnant. Safe to say, we did not get pregnant. And then what we did was, when we came back here to England, we then booked, my husband actually booked a private appointment to have an internal examination done. I think he booked one of the Nuffield centres for that. And when we went to the internal examination, the gynecologist there said that it does in fact look like I have several cysts on both my ovaries, and it does indicate that I've got PCOS. And then they said to take the report to the GP and ask for me to be referred to the fertility clinic, which is exactly what we did. So the GP thankfully referred us to the fertility clinic, and from that point on, things began to run more smoothly. So at the fertility clinic, they did a whole host of like the hormonal tests again, just to see if everything was okay, and also the test on Jay. His tests were all fine, but with mine, they spotted that my thyroid levels were a bit off. So I in fact have low thyroid levels. I think the T3, T4, and high TSH levels. I think that one point is about 10 or something like that, and ideally it needed to be below 3, I think, to get pregnant, or something like that, 3 or 2.5, something really low. So then they suggested that I go on levothyroxine, which is basically thyroxine that I take from the outside to supplement to make my thyroid levels normal. So that's what I did, and then every 4 to 6 weeks I had to do blood tests again to see if they were still at okay levels, and then reassess the situation. And so they had to tackle my PCOS and my thyroid issue as well. And what happens normally what happens when you get referred to the fertility clinic is they would first put you on the Clomid cycles to see if I can see if you were able to conceive naturally. But obviously, because I'd already had that from Sri Lanka, they said obviously there's no point in doing that again. And then the other option was to put me through to the IVF pathway, which is what we wanted to try anyway. Before we were allowed to go on the IVF pathway, they needed to do more checks on my ovaries to see if there's nothing wrong with them, if there was no blocks or anything like that. And they did the dye test, so they put a dye through your vagina and so through to the womb and through the fallopian tube to see if there's any obstructions. And at that stage they thought that there might be an obstruction in one of my fallopian ducts, and that they needed to do a surgery to remove that obstruction before they could let me continue onto the IVF pathway, which was obviously not what we wanted to hear at all. And there was no way that they could confirm without doing the surgery that it was indeed a blockage or not. And there was also a risk to the surgery where if they did go in and there's nothing, there was no obstruction, it would basically cause it to have more scar tissue, I guess, and kind of make an obstruction anyway. So it's just like lose-lose kind of situation, which wasn't really what I was keen on. So we parked the idea for a little bit, and because we had another trip coming to Sri Lanka. We basically go to Sri Lanka every year. We try and go every year. Obviously this is before COVID. So we said, okay, we're going to go to Sri Lanka. We'll try and do another, there was another scan, I think you can do, I think, another scan of some sort that could be done privately, but obviously the NHS wasn't funding it, but we thought we could go to Sri Lanka and get that done. We went to Sri Lanka and we met with 2 other specialists in Sri Lanka, so one for the PCOS side of things and one for the thyroid side of things, just to get a second opinion. And the doctor that we met for PCOS, his name is Dr. Sudhir Udivella. I think we saw him at Lung Hospitals. He was amazing. He was very he was very nice. He explained everything thoroughly. He kind of gave a lot of information, kind of showed us what the disease was, what the etymology of the disease was, and what we needed to do. And he kind of said that it was a three-pronged attack that we needed to do, I think. Yes, so obviously one is to lose weight. So I was, at that time, I was 57 kg, and which is not a lot, but I am quite short. If you haven't met me, I am quite short. I'm about 4'11", so it's quite high. It is a higher BMI number than I should have. So technically I needed to lose weight, and also I needed to up my exercise. At that point I was not doing exercise at all. I was quite dormant, and also he suggested that I go on metformin to help me with the losing fat side of things, but there's also a lot more scientific things, there's a lot more stuff that it does, but I just don't remember all of it. But yeah, that's a three-pronged attack that he suggested. I wasn't very keen on having metformin, but so I didn't go on it straight away. I wanted to come back to England and speak to the fertility clinic before I started taking metformin. And then for the thyroid issue, we met with Dr. Prasad Katlanda, who was also good, and he gave me a list of food to eat and not to eat, which was fine. I kind of did it to some degree, although it was quite tailored to Sri Lankan food, which is what we have here, but not everything, so it was a bit difficult to follow. But anyway, but we didn't end up getting that scan that we wanted to get because we couldn't get it. Yeah, so after I saw the 2 doctors, that was basically the start of the pandemic. So basically this was end of February, March time that we were in Sri Lanka, and unfortunately during that time it was me and my husband and my mum in Sri Lanka, and my brother and my father were here in England. And unfortunately my father contracted COVID, and he on the day that we got back to England, he unfortunately passed away, which is obviously a big and it was a very pivotal moment in my life, and I don't really want to talk about it more, but that happened, and with that I kind of had like a reality check sort of thing, because up until that point in time, generally in life, I'd just been kind of like going through the motions, not really kind of trying my best at anything, or trying my best at anything. I was just kind of like taking whatever came my way without questioning it, or like trying to get what I wanted in life, really. if that kind of makes sense. I'm just like kind of blasé about things. And after that huge life event, I kind of began to rethink things, and I just wanted to change. I just felt like, you know, life is too short, and I can't just wait for things to happen. I need to actually go and make things happen, basically. And I was running out of time, essentially. So I then made a decision to kind of change the way I thought, change the little things that were making me unhappy, and actually focus on getting the things that I wanted. Starting with, obviously, losing my weight. With the fertility side of things, losing my weight, being more healthier, going on walks every day, putting a little bit more exercise into my routine, so doing yoga. But that was around the time that I got referred to the IVF clinic, so I was not in the best mindset anyway to begin with. But yeah, when you get put into the IVF clinic, you have the hormonal test done again. Just to double check, and my thyroid levels were fluctuating quite a lot, so they had to wait I think a month or two before starting the cycle anyway. And then I was put onto the shorter IVF cycle because of my high egg count and PCOS, so that they were a bit erring on the side of caution, because they didn't want to overstimulate my ovaries, because that would mean that I might have to be hospitalised if it goes into overstimulation. So I went to do I followed the short protocol, I think it's called. But yeah, that involves like shots every day, harvesting the eggs, and we had to wait for, obviously, to see if any of the eggs got fertilized, and I think we collected about 5 good eggs, and then I think it was 9 good eggs, and I think 4 of them obviously perished, unfortunately, and we were left with 5. And out of the 5, we got a choice to either implant 1 or 2 in. Obviously, because even though you put 2 in, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a double the chance of success. So we went with 1, and yeah, it was a long process, IVF process. If you want me to talk about it a little bit more, let me know, and I'll be happy to make a video about it. But it was a while ago, so I don't really remember, but I can find out the information and yeah, answer any questions that you might have. But yes, so I got 1 egg per placed in me, and then it was a waiting game. So I had to wait for, I think, a couple of days and do a pregnancy test. But I remember the day we got back that night. So you're not supposed to move a lot. You're supposed to kind of take it easy, rest a lot, and kind of aid the egg to implant itself, basically. And I remember that day or the next day, I got a little bit of a fever. Didn't think much of it, but yeah, got a little bit of a high temperature, that's all. And then unfortunately I did the pregnancy test and I did not conceive. It did not stick. Unfortunately, that was quite hard, and that was kind of the last straw as well for me. Like kind of like a massive reality check. Like, anyway, that was like the final straw, because I had hopes for the IVF, and when that didn't happen, I'm like, okay, maybe it's like a lot more serious than I'd thought. So yeah, I took it a lot more seriously. At that point, I was in a job that I was not enjoying. It was very stressful for me. It wasn't my type of job. It didn't fit my personality. I was struggling, and there were other things professionally and personally that I wasn't really happy with where I was at. So I decided to make changes to make myself happier, to be less stressful basically, or to be less stressed out basically. And so yeah, those were just little things like waking up early in the day, going for a morning walk, putting on some makeup, being presentable, kind of feeling happy, like eating healthy, having a juice in the morning, and then taking my going out for a walk with my dog again in the evening. Little things, doing yoga, for example, doing little things, and also you know, trying to like change things that I didn't, that I've found stressful. So yeah, so my body was much more comfortable, and yeah, felt so much better. And as we still kept on trying to conceive naturally, and end of February, usually I do take pregnancy tests just to help me my mind at ease, because otherwise I feel like I kind of hold on to my period, and when I take pregnancy tests and I know that it's negative, it just kind of lets it go. It's a kind of mental thing. But February, day after I have my period, I go to the toilet just randomly after work, take a pregnancy test, and as soon as I pee on the stick, I see the positive sign. And that was the first time in my life that I'd seen a positive pregnancy test, and I could not believe it. Like, I did not expect it. It was so unexpected. It was such a big surprise, and it was the best day of my life. But yeah, it was amazing, and yeah, so I was really happy. We were really happy, and yes, and life has been wonderful ever since. So I really believe if you keep a positive mindset, and if you keep the stress away and you focus on the positive and make those positive changes, I really believe you can do it. If you are kind of in the same boat as we are, I urge you not to lose hope. There is hope. There is always hope. I thought that I was quite difficult. There were so many objections for me, and yet we somehow conceived naturally. So it was amazing, and my pregnancy was amazing. My birth was amazing, and my baby is absolutely amazing. She is so chill and she's so relaxed, and she's the best baby ever. Maybe all mums say that, but she is like so like chill, and I love her so much, and I've been so blessed, and like I've been waiting so much. I've been waiting so long for this, and I feel like good things do definitely come to those who wait. And yeah, it's been amazing. So I urge you not to lose hope. If you are in the same boat as me, you are not alone. And yeah, if you do have any questions about my specific anything that I went through, please feel free to either comment down below or send me a message, and I will try and reply to you as best I can. But yeah, I hope that was helpful to you, and if it was, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I think the next video will be my my birth story, hopefully. That was interesting as well. But yeah, I hope you find this helpful, and I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.